I love it. What's up, everybody? How we doing? Justin, you being the person in charge of the Den of Nerds Gaming, what's going on in gaming, man? You told me kind of an interesting story off air when you got into the studio. What's going on with Destiny?
Yeah, so Destiny 2 was off. And
Yeah.
I mean just straight up off. Like, you could not get on it at all. So the whole reason Bungie shut off Destiny 2 was because they released a little hotfix to like fix a bunch of bugs, but they introduced a new bug where you actually just started hemorrhaging currency. Like, Destiny
Nice.
ended up eating your currency, and that's your Glimmer, your Legendary Shards, and your Bright Dust. Now, Glimmer, not a big deal. You get
Yeah.
it from doing literally everything. It's the like in-game freebie currency, but you use it for like everything. So that was a pretty significant deal. Legendary Shards you use to upgrade legendary weapons, little harder to come by. So a lot of people are getting super salty about that.
Yeah.
And the saltiest thing was the Bright Dust, because that is your currency for the paid in-game shop. So
Yo,
it's like
that's crazy.
Destiny
Yo.
literally coming in and siphoning out your credit card.
That is like some EA shit. You know what I mean?
It
Like
was-
that's like EA. EA's like, hey, look, not only are we going to charge you for this premium currency, but you're going to start hemorrhaging it. I believe that today, because EA and they separated, right? Or it was Activision.
It was Activision, and yes, Bungie has separated, and they've started doing like a lot more stuff that's sort of better for players, because they don't have the iron fist of Activision being like, we need to meet these quotas immediately.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's Bungie being off on their own, so they've kind of like jacked up the premium currency prices a bit to kind of make everything even out, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But I can promise the update was not malicious. That's literally the reason they took Destiny 2 offline, because they're like, hey, we see you're all hemorrhaging money.
Yeah.
So we're gonna try and fix this and try and roll stuff back.
That look,
so
it's
this
a,
doesn't
look,
happen.
it's a good idea for them to shut it down. It's also hilarious. And when you first said, I was like, wow, they're just shutting the whole game down. I do wonder what their active player base is actually like. Do you think there's still a lot of people playing Destiny 2?
Yeah, Destiny 2 actually has a decent player base. The past updates have been really well received.
What do you mean
like
when
new
you say
expansions.
active player base? What number? What are you thinking? How many people? A couple million?
No, we're not talking like that. But I would say there's, if I had to like just personally estimate
Yeah, what
with
do you think?
absolutely no data on my own,
Yeah.
I say there's probably at least 30,000 people across all platforms that like routinely
Like,
play
actively
Destiny
play?
and
Yeah.
actively play it and enjoy it. Because like, I've hopped back into it a little bit, like trying it on my own, because I got it for free on PlayStation Plus.
Yeah.
And I'd previously owned it, so I still had all my progress. You don't really have to wait a long time to do like PvP stuff or anything like that. So it's got enough of a decent player base on it where it keeps going. Honestly, Trev saying 200,000, that might be a little up there. I don't think we're talking like World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy 14 numbers or anything like that. But I'd say like it's enough to keep the game alive. It's a
Okay.
lot more than Anthem.
Well, it's funny because like I remember back in the day when like World of Warcraft was touting like 12 million, 15 million players. I remember when it was like the biggest thing ever. Man, and like for what was it, like $15 a month or like $10 a month at that point. That is so much freaking money.
Yeah.
Like they were making so much money. And I don't know. I just look at some of the new MMOs and the new shooter looters and all that, and they haven't quite cracked the code. It's almost like MMOs are like a dying breed. Yeah, would you agree? What do you think?
No, I would not agree at all. I
Well,
actually
then
think
let me educate me. What's
actually think-
what's the big MMOs then? I don't think there's any big MMOs.
there's huge MMOs right
What's
now.
the
dude.
big MMO?
Like, World of Warcraft is still a titan for starters, even though a lot of people left with Battle for Azeroth. So it's still pretty big. I would say Final Fantasy 14 is massive. Like, you didn't see any of the reviews for Shadowbringers, did you? Right? I bet
Well,
you
only
didn't.
what you talked to me about.
It's
because
literally been called the best expansion to an MMO since Wrath of the Lich King, which
Okay.
is insane. Like,
Yeah.
Wrath of the Lich King, I would consider the pinnacle of expansions until this came out.
Okay.
So Final Fantasy 14 is crushing it in the story department.
Well, how many players do you think it's got?
At least 5 million.
Active players?
Yeah.
Oh man, okay.
Yeah,
That's pretty
so
good.
It's pretty good. They've actually had to make more
Yeah.
data centers and expand because of their player base. And then I would say, honestly, man, Elder Scrolls Online doing really, really
Yeah,
well.
it still
I know
holds
you
like
dabble
what,
in that
8 or 10
a lot.
million, you think? What do you think?
I'd say on par with Final Fantasy 14.
Really?
In all honesty.
Okay.
Like, I think part of the reason WoW had that much of an active player base was because there was literally no competition of a similar quality. Like, you'd have those side MMOs like
True.
Mabinogi
Yeah, true.
and stuff that was like mostly a Korean grind fest and
Yeah.
not really that focused.
Mm.
And so it was just like WoW. I mean, you had Star Wars Galaxies, but then Sony kind of ruined Star Wars Galaxies to try and compete with WoW. So that really wasn't a competition. Final Fantasy 11 was there and it was doing okay, but it was a lot more hardcore than World of Warcraft and didn't hit that casual demographic. But these days, we've actually got a lot more quality MMOs that end up, like, fitting the bill. So I would say a lot of WoW's player base is sort of splintered off into these other quality MMOs. I'd even wager to say, like, Blade and Soul and Black Desert Online, which are less well-known. I think they've still got a sizable, decent player base.
Yeah, I mean, hey, look, you're the gaming guy, so that's that's why we go to you for that. And I'll say this too, just for the viewers and for everybody at home, Korean Grindfest was actually the theme of my 21st birthday.
Really?
That was it was a nice it was a different thing than I think you're talking about, but it was a good time.